Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. I am still working on those year-end lists like I mentioned in the previous video. They are coming, but I'm not going to rush myself. I mean, I do have vacation and I've earned them and I want to enjoy them. But fear not, they will be here soon enough. Anyway, I want to take a quick break to talk about an indie film that's been making waves this year. That will be Aftersun, a film written and directed by Charlotte Wells, and it also happens to be our first feature-length film. And honestly, I am blown away. This does not feel like a film written by a rookie. Aftersun tells the story of a father and daughter who are on vacation in Turkey. It's very much a coming-of-age story, but in reality, that's half the film, if not less actually. It is not immediately apparent, and thanks to some very clever mise-en-scène, it is heavily hinted that this whole holiday is a distant memory. I don't want to go into more specific details because I really think it's worth it to discover for yourselves what this film has to offer. And incidentally, that sense of discovery is very much at the core of this film's thematics. Essentially, we view the film through two lenses, so to speak. One being the memory of the vacation itself, and on the other hand, hard evidence of what actually happened, captured on a video recorder by Sophie. As we progress through the film, we learn that Sophie struggles with the perception of who she thinks her father is, and who in reality he really is and what he's dealing with. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that this film may very well be the most subtle and potent film-going experience I've had all year long. At first glance, it may appear to be just a rather mundane father-daughter story, but pay close attention. The devil is in the details. I really must give Charlotte Wells the highest praise on a very thoughtful screenplay. This short 1 hour, 40-minute film is packed with meaningful mise-en-scène, which on first viewing, you probably won't even realize the film is feeding you valuable information. In many ways, the true power of this film is only discovered after the credits have rolled, when you are left alone with your thoughts after viewing this film. The more I reflect on this film, the more imagery and narrative concepts I begin to unpack. And speaking of imagery, this film has stellar cinematography. Once again, at first glance, this feels like a very straightforward film-going experience. But give it some time and it will floor you. There are so many visual fragments that are just embedded in my mind. You really wouldn't think that this small budget film would have some most emotionally striking cinematography that rivals with some of the very best in the film industry. This is yet another example of how a tiny film can just clobber the Hollywood film industry with its emotional weight. Paired with the sensational cinematography by Gregory Oak, the editing in Aftersun has some truly creative tricks up its sleeve. I won't spoil anything, but early in the film there's a truly fantastic transition that really took me by surprise. It was from that moment that I woke up to the idea of not underestimating this film, because there's immense power and creativity to be found here, even with the limited resources. Everything about the film's visual aesthetics perfectly captures that feeling of what it's like to live in a memory. It is absolutely magical. Once again, it bears repeating, a tiny film that rivals with some of the best of the global film industry. Additionally, before I forget, I love the use of music and specific songs in this film. Another great example of how interesting narrative ideas are hidden in plain sight. The last thing worth mentioning is the incredible acting talent of the two leads. I really don't think anyone could have better fit these roles. Both have such a natural chemistry between each other. Honestly, it doesn't feel like they're acting or anything is scripted. It's so beautifully authentic. Frankie Corio, who has no previous acting experience to speak of, plays Sophie with grace and nuance. And her counterpart, Paul Mescal, a young actor who's just starting off in his career, of which we actually saw him last year in The Lost Daughter. But here he finds himself in a wonderful role. He delivers a subtle but unforgettable performance as a father with a tortured soul. There's a long take early in the film where he exits on the balcony when he thinks that no one is looking. That scene moved me to my core. Not a single word was spoken, but his body language in this extended sequence speaks volumes. It was a seed planted early in the film that had me pay much closer attention to what was going on screen right up until the credits rolled. I heard the rave reviews, of course, about this film, and as always, I go into a film with as little expectations as possible. And as you can tell, I absolutely love this film. I was floored and devastated. It's a masterstroke in the art of subtle, intricate, emotional filmmaking. I'm giving Aftersun a 9.5 out of 10. I realize that people probably aren't going to pay a lot of attention to this kind of film, especially when there are these big, exciting films at the cinema, but I honestly think you'll be hard-pressed to find a more potent film-going experience this year. Give it a chance because it's a phenomenal piece of indie filmmaking. And that is all for today. I am going to get back to those year-end lists as soon as I can. Once again, not going to rush it, but they are coming. So until then, wishing you and your loved ones nothing but the best. Take care of yourselves and talk to you soon.